Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Cave Story. So on the last episode we defeated Machine X, one of the hardest bosses in the game by my estimation anyway, and also picked up the arms barrier, which halves the amount of experience hits we take whenever we get damaged. So those are two pretty essential things considering the length of the last video. Now we meet up with Curly Brace here in the Boulder Cave. If you're wondering why I didn't rescue Professor Booster, it's because if you rescue him, you actually lose the ability to get one of the better items in the game a little bit later on. So I'm not just trying to be a dick and letting him die down there at the bottom of a cave, or the bottom of a cliff like Mufasa in Austin Powers 2, but there's a method to my madness. In any case, Balrog comes in here after Curly and I failed to move the boulder because we are weak little robots. And Balrog, despite being totally rebuked by Misery, is still fighting on the side of the Doctor for whatever reason, although it looks for a second like he's going to help us with the boulder. Of course he freaks out. And this is the last time we actually fight him, and compared to Weapon X, I don't think it's called Weapon X or Machine X, I've totally forgotten now, but in any case, compared to the last boss we fought, Balrog is actually really easy. The only challenge is, if you lost a lot of health fighting the last boss, you might have some trouble here. But otherwise, just basically stick to the blade, and as long as you keep hammering away at him, you're not going to have too much trouble. Obviously, it would be best for you to avoid getting into his grasp like I am failing to do right now. But even though that was a relatively pitiful boss fight on my part, I still killed him with a fair bit of health to spare. Although not a whole lot, which is going to make the next part pretty tricky, because there's no way to refill my health without venturing into the spot where there's some enemies. Although if I had the machine gun I could, but that's a concession I'm not willing to make, and actually cannot make at this point. But in any case, Balrog helps us move this stuff out of the way under the condition that we never tell anybody ever that he helped us probably save the world. Like, we're gonna just like send a tweet to the Doctor, like, @Doctor, you know Balrog just helped us move that boulder, right? LOL, joke's on you. So in that chest we got a new missile upgrade, which is going to make our missiles more powerful, but also take them back to level 1. And after we get that, we're going to save, and then we're going to venture into the next area, the Labyrinth M. So here is basically what's going to make or break our trip through here. If we destroy these eggs and we get some hearts, it's going to be possible for us to travel through here, but if we break these open and get no hearts, then it's going to be really hard for us to get through here, just because of the sheer difficulty of the next part. Not difficulty, but just kind of length. Although, you know, actually we were up to 25 health, that should be enough to get through here with relative ease. So we've got Curly on our side now, and she has her machine gun that we could have traded her for. She's also immune to damage and immune to spikes, and can stay underwater indefinitely, so she's definitely more well-built than we are at this part of the game. I'm wondering why I'm handling all the dirty work. Again, here you're going to want to stick with your blade as much as possible. I'm trying to level it up to level 3 again to, you know, give me that supreme power that I had before, but I'm also trying to level up my missiles as well, because since I've received that missile upgrade, I'm chilling back at level 1, and, you know, they're still quite powerful at level 1, but obviously I'd like them to be level 3. I prefer them to be level 3 so I could really take out some of the bosses that are coming up. Because we're entering a pretty hard section in the game, particularly if you're not familiar with the strategy of the bosses. Again, the blade is the weapon of choice through this section, simply because it's so effective at killing the power critters and the Gaudis. Even the flying Gaudis, which I believe are called armors, or they're covered in armor, but in any case, relatively easy to take those out. Unfortunately, those huge experience blocks are unavailable for me to get because they fell on top of the red spikes. Wish Curly could go do a fetch quest of her own for once and get me that experience, but unfortunately that is not in the cards. So we'll basically just keep blasting our way through here with the blade, and also the missiles sometimes. The missiles are quite effective, and I have a fair amount of them, so what's not to like about using the missiles right now? I should get a chance to refill before the next boss fight anyway. And, you know, I have 9, which is not a lot, but sizable. Actually, you know, I might not get a chance to refill before the next boss fight, but whatever, we'll find a way to make it work. Here's another section where you could bust through and probably pick up a lot of experience and health, and maybe even missiles in those pods, but of course I just skip over them thinking they couldn't possibly be of any use to me at all. Now, these things are some of the more annoying enemies that we encounter in this part of the labyrinth. In fact, this part of the labyrinth in general is just kind of annoying because you're always submerged a little bit in water. The concern isn't dying, but it just decreases your mobility a lot, so it makes some of the areas here a little bit harder than they would otherwise be if it was just a sheerly terrestrial environment as opposed to an amphibious one. But in any case, missiles make pretty short work of whatever you would face in this area. Unfortunately, I can't get those hearts up there, but I'm sitting pretty good on health, so I'm not overly concerned with that right now. The main thing that trips me up here is getting these jumping puzzles. As you can see, I just fall directly into the water. And I will probably continue to do that many times if history is any indicator. This jumping puzzle is not necessarily hard, but you know, it can be a little bit tricky. It's one of those jumps where you've got to do it from pretty much the last square, and also you have to do it from that top block that I was just standing on. Don't be a hero like me and think the game's trying to trick you into jumping into that red spike. In actuality, you do have to be on that top block. The piss off here, obviously, is that if you miss that jump, you end up in the water, which was going to take you at least 20 or 30 seconds to get back and give it another attempt. Not a whole lot in the scheme of things, but you know, it's still kind of annoying. And again, I kind of bunged that jump up a little bit. I hate when games make these sections where you travel so slowly over them. Reminds me a lot of Knights of the Old Republic, which is a game that I actually really loved and still do love, but they had those moments where you would don the spacesuit or the diving suit and then venture out into the water or, you know, into the vacuum of space. I always found those parts so annoying. But in any case, that is a totally different game, although it actually came out around the same time as this one. To put things in perspective, I guess. So, kind of here, I'm just gonna let Curly do her own thing. She's kind of inept sometimes when it comes to killing these enemies, but sometimes she can kind of save your skin. If you're getting really low on health, you can just kind of let her take things over for a while, and as long as you have the patience of a monk, or the patience of a saint, I guess, rather, you can usually let her take care of the enemies and you'll be fine. So this is the teleporter I was talking about earlier that was located in that gaudy item shop. Now, I could save here, but that would require me to exit this platform here, and since I have no way to get back up, that would cost me, you know, maybe 15 minutes of playtime trying to get back here. Maybe not 15, but definitely we'd be closing in on 10, so it's not worth it. Especially considering that all of my weapons are doing pretty well as far as experience goes, and I've got a lot of health. So I'm not really overly concerned at this point about dying, although it is possible. These enemies are not really that difficult. If ideally you'd like to kill all of the circles spinning around the major sphere, otherwise when you kill the head, then the other ones just kind of home in on you. And it can be kind of a pain to kill, but not really. You'll usually just kind of kill them incidentally if you keep firing. It's one of those things where these enemies have such happy smiling faces, I almost don't want to kill them. I think maybe there's some kind of Easter egg if you don't. I have no data or experience to back that up, but you guys know what I'm saying. Happens sometimes in games. So we'll just get through the last one of these, and then we should be making our way to a doorway, which will mark the end of this relatively challenging stretch of gameplay that we just went through, and I'm glad I only had to go through it once. So once we get to the dark place, things start to look a little bit different, and we see this delicious jaguar head here that is apparently a door, even though the background looks exactly the same color. And we will just jump up here and save, and we will see the next part in the next video.